Imagine if yoga and kung fu had a baby. Not that one. That's the monk class in Baldurs Gate 3. These are the Zen warriors who make everyone else feel like they're doing combat in slow motion.
Hi, my name's Chris.
They don't need fancy armor because they're too busy deflecting arrows with their abs of steel. And let's not forget their ultimate weapon, unarmed strikes that hit like a freight train driven by inner peace. They're the ones who turn enemies into confused puddles, wondering how a person can punch so hard and still talk about the importance of balance. In the chaotic world of Baldur's Gate 3, monks are basically the cool cats who've unlocked the secrets of tranquility amidst all the chaos. They're like, hey goblins, I get it, life's tough, but have you tried meditation? They've got abilities that make them the masters of
dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
They can move across the battlefield like a squirrel on caffeine, delivering swift kicks that send foes into the next postcode. It's like they have a hotline to the universe's cosmic giggle. And they're ready to unleash it on anyone who underestimates their serenity-fueled strength.
If he dies, he dies.
The monk channels cosmic enlightenment by deftly dodging and efficiently disassembling their foes through stunning strikes and a whirlwind of martial art attacks. At level 1, the first action they gain is Flurry of Blows. This allows them to punch twice in quick succession. They also gain some class features, such as Ki. Ki is the magic that flows through all living beings. You can use it to exceed your body's physical capabilities. They gain Unarmored Defense. Your reflexes are as effective as any armor. While not wearing armor, you add your Wisdom modifier to your armor class. They gain Dexterous Attack. Attacks with monk weapons and unarmed attacks scale with your dexterity instead of your strength, if your dexterity is higher. Deft Strikes. Attacks with monk weapons and unarmed attacks deal 1 to 4 bludgeoning damage unless their normal damage is higher. And finally, Bonus Unarmed Strike. After making an attack with a monk weapon or well unarmed, you can make another unarmed attack as a bonus action. For this build, I feel like Acolyte kind of fits the flavor of monk that I'm looking to build. When looking at abilities, you are going to want to get as much dexterity as possible. Dexterity, of course, allowing you to be more agile and have better reflexes, balance, and of course, raising your armor class. Constitution, since the monk is a close-range fighter, or a fighter that steps into melee, does a bunch of attacks, and then steps back out of melee, having a little bit of extra constitution in case something goes wrong is never a bad thing. More HP is more HP. Finally, I would say to throw some points into wisdom. Because the monk gets extra AC from their wisdom stat being raised, having wisdom will help with your will saves as well as increasing the amount of armor you have. Upon reaching level 3, you will get access to your monk subclass. There are 3 to choose from: the Way of the 4 Elements, Way of the Open Hand, or the Way of Shadow. The Way of the 4 Elements. You focus your ki to bend the elements to your will, using them as an extension of your own body. What this will allow you to do is become a spellcaster. You will get access to 3 spells and an action. Harmony of Fire and Water. While not in combat, regain half of your ki points rounded down.
I can do this all day.
One thing that's interesting to note is that you can use your ki to power this magic, which means that it also triggers unarmed strikes. So if you do a cantrip, you will still be able to use your unarmed strike to hit a target. The Way of the Open Hand specializes in unarmed combat. They use hands and control of ki to heal or inflict a lot of pain. So this will open up 3 augments to your Flurry of Blows. The first one being Topple, which will knock enemies prone; Stagger, which will stagger an opponent, making it unable to do any reactions; or Flurry of Blows Push, which will push the target on succeeding 5 meters away. Finally, there's the Way of Shadow.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
This was actually a class that I played in D&D 5th edition for about 2 years. You value the arts of stealth and subterfuge, bending the shadows to your will to strike without warning. This is going to unlock things known as shadow arts. This will allow you to hide from enemies by succeeding stealth checks. Stick to the dark and avoid enemy sightlines. Attacking or casting a spell will reveal your location. It should also be noted that this is a bonus action. Then you gain Shadow Arts Pass Without a Trace. Call forth a Veil of Shadows and Silence that gives you and all nearby companions a +10 bonus to stealth checks. This is a concentration spell, but it lasts until your next long rest. You gain Darkness, which will heavily obscure and blind creatures within it. Creatures cannot make ranged attacks into or out of it, and that will last for 10 turns. If your class doesn't have dark vision, this is another way to actually gain that so that you have the ability to see out to a range of 12 meters in the dark. That will also last until a long rest. Finally, you gain Silence. Create a soundproof sphere. All within are silenced and immune to thunder damage. It will last 100 turns. Holy shit. You also gain the cantrip Minor Illusion. This creates an illusion that compels nearby creatures to investigate. That lasts 10 turns. If you are going a Disciple of the Elements build, it is important to note that Wisdom will be one of your more important stats, on par with Dexterity. So make sure if you want to go Disciple of the Elements, pump that Wisdom up. So while making this character, I did have Way of the Open Hand in mind. I want to be able to jump into combat and stun, trip, and stagger opponents while I whirl through the battlefield, kind of tagging multiple targets along the way. So if you want a character who can punch demons and still have time to enjoy a cup of herbal tea, the Monk is your Zen Master of Disaster.